Ecclesiasticus chapter 41. Oh, there goes Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach, chapter 41. Chapter 41. Okay. So it reads, verse 1. O death, how bitter is the remembrance of thee to a man that liveth at rest in his possession, unto man that have nothing to vex him, and that have prosperity in all things, yea, unto him that is yet able to receive meat. Okay, so do this one by itself. Okay, when we look at this, we'll see that death is going to be bitter for what? A man that is, so-called living a good life. Okay, that man that has, maybe his riches, his wealth, prosper in a lot of things in this world. He don't want to receive death. He's enjoying it. Okay, so this is saying this individual is not going to want to embrace death, which should be normal. It makes sense. But verse 2, O death, acceptable is thy sentence unto the needy and unto him whose strength faileth, that is now in the last age and is vexed with all things, and to him that despaireth and have lost patience. So you'll see some people embrace it. Okay, sometimes when they get into a full age, maybe the body's not responding like it should. It can be that's where the strength failing, the age. You see that it was one other part was it's just lost patience. Some people just ready. Right? So death is going to happen. We all experience death. However, depending on how your life is, some people are going to more welcome it. Some people are going to, kind of want to resist it. Right. Verse 3. Fear not the sentence of death. Remember them that have been before thee and that come after. For this is the sentence of the Lord over all flesh. Fear not the sentence of death. Sentence, the judgment. Okay. Do not fear death happening or coming for you. Why? Remember them that have been before thee and that come after thee. For this is the sins of the Lord of all flesh. This is happening. Don't waste your life, fearing the inevitable. Death is coming. So he's saying, don't let it have fear over you. Even with us, beloved, we understand that death is not the end for us. So we should have a certain fear as others may have fear when it comes to death. I believe the chapter might deal with that as well. Let's keep reading. Verse 4. Why art thou against the pleasure of the Most High? There is no inquisition in the grave, whether thou have lived 10 or 100 or 1,000 years. So why art thou against the pleasure of the Most High? This just that phrasing reminds me of that death. In fact, let me look at it. Should have looked this up. This come to mind. Because everybody look at death as a bad thing. Of course, with our flesh, we don't want to see certain loved ones go. We miss their presence, so that's understandable. But in the Most High, let's read a scripture. See if I can find it real quick. So we go to Psalms 116. Psalms 116. And we're going to scroll down to verse. I'm going to start at verse 12. I'm going to point to 15. We can go to verse 12. All right. This is Psalms chapter 116. Psalms chapter 116. And I'm starting at verse 12. What shall I render unto Yahweh for all his benefits towards me? That's a good question to throw out. What should we give for all the benefits that Yahweh has given us? Listen what the writer says. I will take the cup of salvation and call upon the name of Yahweh. I will take this cup of salvation. All right. I will drink of it. I will call upon the name of Yahweh, and I will pay my vows unto Yahweh now in the presence of all his people. So we're going to display this. We're going to do it in front of what? The people of God. Listen to verse 15. Precious in the sight of Yahweh is the death of his saints. Think about that. Precious in the sight of the Lord is the death of his saints. So don't always think, oh, when the saint died, oh, the Most High's all upset and all this stuff, or did they sin anything? Precious the death, right? But the key part is what? Saints. The death of his saints is precious in his sight. Let's go back to Ecclesiasticus chapter 41. Ecclesiasticus chapter 41. So fear not the death, all right? But verse 4. And why art thou against the pleasure of the Most High, right? Once again, Psalm 116 and 15, precious, all right, is that sight. So it's not a bad thing because, once again, you're not denying the Most High is what? Transforming to that new creature that we should be desiring. And the scriptures talk about we moaning and groaning to, to get that body. This is the plan. It's a glorious plan. It's a beautiful thing. So you don't want, sometimes we're trying to go against the Most High and some of the things he had for it, but he has things better for us. So we shouldn't be so frantic and, so against it and things of that nature. So just want us to make sure we're sober minded with some of these thoughts. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. Verse 5. The children of sinners are abominable children, and they that are conversant in the dwelling of the ungodly. So those that sin, again, that makes you sinner, right? Sinner. Transgression of the law. John 3:4, right? Sin is the transgression of the law. So you need a law to break. That's how you transgress. You have to go against the law. So that means a law has to be in place for something to be, for the phrase or the label sinner. Right? If you throw away the law, you have to throw away what? Sinner, because there's nothing to transgress if you throw away the law. So this is where you have to understand it. So the children of sinners, those that are breaking the law, are what? Abominable children. Some people thinking, oh, I'm just a child of God. I do whatever. I'm the child of God. Okay, if you want to go with child of God, guess what kind of child you are? You're an abominable child. Nothing he's happy about. Nothing he's proud about. This is the label you get. And they that are conversing in the dwelling of the ungodly. And those that what? Connected with this, dealing with this, right? Conversing with this, being a part of it, linking to these things. We will also get that what? That label. Because we have to separate from these things, beloved, because we don't realize this. It's a spiritual thing. And we can't be locking and linking our spirits with anything and everything. There's certain things you got to realize. Sometimes you're like, man, I just feel like I shouldn't be dealing with the right. That's about the spirit telling you. Our spirits don't mesh. It don't mash together. But what our flesh will do is sometimes, and not that it's sometimes even evil in a sense, but sometimes we'll say, you know what, no, that I gotta be nice, I gotta be this, I gotta show God, so I gotta link up and I gotta deal with them and all those kind of things. No, that's not all. That's usually sometimes your flesh, and you might be thinking, all right, perceiving you're doing the right thing, but that will go against, the spirit. So the spirit's trying to protect you, but sometimes with our understanding lacking, sometimes we think, okay, no, that must be the devil speaking, because we should just supposed to be linking up and being, linked up with any and everybody. No. All right. Separation, sanctification. That's dealing with that separation. You get sanctified. He is setting you apart. Not setting you apart so you can be intermingling right with them. So remember, we want to make sure we are not falling into this. Verse 6, the inheritance of sinners, children shall perish, and their posterity shall have a perpetual reproach. So now the inheritance, what the children inherit is what? Shall perish. Death. So they inherit. What does this mean? Beloved, we got a command to what? We are supposed to, that are righteous, we are supposed to teach our children, right? Train up a child in the way they should go, and they'll never depart from it. So we are supposed to instill all the godly and holy traits that we have learned, okay, and practice, and we're supposed to instill that with all our might into our children. That's a form of inheritance. Okay, he gave us the what? He gave us the knowledge of God as an inheritance we are supposed to pass down to our children. The sinner is not worried about the things of God, and they're not trying to pass that knowledge down. That's why that formula, if God will intervene, is what? Perish. It's just death. So once again, this is the responsibility that we have to do. This is a commandment law. We must teach the children. Well, I don't have the knowledge to teach the children everything. Oh, you can give them little things. And then we have what? Children's class as well. Do our part. But you just want to give them the best foundation. That's what we give them, the best foundation. Does that mean your child is going to be, a saint? They can't be a sinner when you give them no, that because you still have choice at the end of the day. But it's easier to make a better choice when you have a great foundation. Okay, so this is what we're striving for. This is what we are attempting to do. And we want to help one another so that we can pass that godly inheritance down to the children, because we don't want none of our children to fall into this, okay, to perish. Verse 7, the children will complain of an ungodly father because they shall be reproached for his sake, right? So the children will complain of an ungodly father because they shall be reproached for his sake. So definitely when it comes to how we had in our culture, this was huge. Okay, the fathers will be that director, that leader, all those kind of things. So they will, children a lot of times will get some of the backlash when it comes to an ungodly father. Okay, nowadays, because of like the nature of definitely, where we at America, there's just so much ungodliness. You're not really seeing this like that because I'm saying everybody ungodly, right? But what we are trying to build up and repair is these things. Okay, so men that are ungodly, we're pushing that they become godly, all right, and be in that role and doing what the Most High is saying. Same thing with a woman or mother. And this is something that definitely men we need to be mindful of. We need to see and understand the repercussion that can come from disobedience. Sometimes you're okay with how people might, let me do this and this, but sometimes we don't think about the children. Children don't always have the same makeup as you. Right? So let's keep going. Verse 8, woe be unto you, ungodly men, which have forsaken the law of the Most High God. For if ye increase, it shall be for your destruction. And then we see the colon there, so let's get verse 9 with it. And if ye be born, ye shall be born to a curse. And if ye die, a curse shall be your portion. So, whoa, giving warning. Ungodly men, which forsaken, and it's breaking down what kind of men are ungodly men. Those that forsaken the law of the Most High God. See why it's such a problem. Sometimes we see some of the teachings of Christianity specifically, but other, well, not just Christianity, almost all of them have bad sets of bad teachings. But when you're taking and saying forsake the law, this is why it rubs us the wrong way, because like you don't know what you're doing. You're giving them a curse. You're bringing death upon them when you do those things. And some people don't realize and understand it, but it's a big deal. And sometimes instead of just submitting and understanding, it don't sound right to forsake the law. Now, the law has a lot of different things in it. Just because you don't want to do 2, 3, 4, 5 things, right? So you want to throw the whole thing out. It's dangerous. Because now, those that are forsaking the law, if ye increase, listen, he said, if ye increase, because somebody's going to increase. But guess what? It shall be to your destruction. And if he be born, he shall be born to a curse. When he dies, you're going to die and what? Inherit a curse. That is nothing that we want to push onto ourselves or our brothers and sisters. No kind of curse while you're living or curse while you did. But what's going to cause that is forsaking of the law. Though we get tired of it, but this is what the Bible keep reiterating. It keeps reiterating over and over and over and over and over again. This is why you have to see, we have to try to be lost. And this is why, beloved, we have to realize that people have to try to be lost. It's easy to do what's right. It takes energy, time, effort, all that stuff to do what's wrong. The blessing is easy. Following God, it's easy. It's the what? The defiance. That's the hard part. Because what? He desired that none of us be lost. So if the Most High God desired that none of us be lost, that means for somebody to be lost, they had to go against the what? The grain or the current. Because the Most High desired to be lost. So he's trying to push us in the right direction. That means you have to say, no, I'm not going to do that. No, I don't want to do that. And that's what we got. We'll make excuses to go against the current. All right. We'll blame to go against the current. But beloved, this word is it's in stone. There's nothing we can do about it. All we can do is conform to it. Verse 11. The mourning of men is about their bodies, but an ill name of sinners shall be blotted out. Okay. So the mourning of men, the mourning is dealing with what? Dealing with the bodies. However, an ill name of sinners shall be blotted out. All right. So in that sinner, that ill name will be blotted out. But I'm going to read verse 12. Have regard to thy name, for that shall continue. For that shall continue with thee above 1,000 great treasures of gold. So you want to be mindful of your name. Your name is very, very important. All right. Let's actually, because now y'all know a verse popped in my head. So let's go to that. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 22. Okay, we're going to go to Proverbs chapter 22. Because this Bible repeats itself. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Proverbs 22 and verse 1. A good name is rather or better to be chosen than great riches, and loving favor rather than silver and gold. Now, beloved, we can just do an eye test with some of this. Do you feel like people worry about their name being great, or they worry about the riches? Okay. Not a great name. I want to be known for, a great athlete or stuff like that. But you want to have that name, when they think, oh, that's a good brother. Yeah, he's honorable, blah, blah, blah. That's a good sister. Yeah, she's humble. She's just worried about serving God, right? Do you rather have that, or do you rather have the riches? And this is that big, divide. Do we rather be labeled a child of God, or we rather have all these things, these pleasurable, desirable things? Well, Brother Mike, can we have both? Now, this is where we got that understanding. Okay. It's better than that. I can have a great name and riches can come to that because blessings can come to that. No doubt about that. But I'm not chasing the riches, right? And not doing the things of God. I'm chasing God and the riches are coming with me. Okay. But a lot of people, they'll what? For that dollar, I'll trade on my brother. I'll trade on my sister for that dollar. I'll do. And you hear people make little memes and things. What would you do? They'll make some kind of stupid situation, some sinful situation, okay, and say, "Would you do this for $1 million?" And you'll see people what? They'll throw away their morals for the right amount of money. They will choose the great riches than a good name. And they think you crazy or oh, you're a liar. You said you wouldn't do. Yeah, that's things I will not do. You can put a price on it. I'm not doing it. Okay. So this is once again a measuring stick for us all. And loving favor, to have that favor, that loving favor, rather than silver and gold. And I want you to understand, he's weighing it out. He ain't saying you can't have this, you can't, right? Because some people try to push it. Oh, so you're just saying you got to be poor to be a child of God. No. What is more important to you? What do you prioritize? What you prioritize is what you're going to do, is what's going to show. Point blank period. What do we prioritize, beloved? Do we put our faith, energy, time into the word of God? Okay, and doing the things of God. Don't just be reading, don't get it wrong. Not just read, right? Praying, meditating, being a good child, being a light to people. With the children's class, what did Brother Floyd call it? We basically we try to get the children to do at least one good deed per week. All right, not saying that's the that's the max, but they have to come up with, when we come every week, all right, something we did. That's what you got, kind acts or acts of kindness, acts of righteousness, some phrases, but it's getting them to understand, right? And we are children of God. This is supposed to be a lifestyle, but once again, we have to introduce it and teach them. And we try to applaud them and praise them for these good things. And a lot of times, but that's the teaching as well. If we only show them energy when they're doing wrong, sometimes that's all they focus on. We don't want to whisper the things they do good and blast them when the things they do wrong. We want to praise and rejoice when they do things right. Because that inspires and motivates them. Okay? Let them understand that it don't matter don't let your financial status, everything, don't think that that's the weight that the Most High look for. He's looking at your good deeds. See, this is where you don't have to have, but see, your good deeds, that's the value. That's what the Most High look for. Who's going to stand for truth? Who's going to value the truth? And then who's going to be the sellouts? And this is where we talk about that spirit of discipline. Because some people, they start off trying to, they in this truth, but what? They'll go to what? Selling out. We don't desire that on anybody. Okay? We don't desire that on anybody. So once again, we're going to go back to this. It reminded me, like I said, it reminded me of this. Let me see where it was at. So have regard to thy name, because a good name is better than what? Great riches. For that shall continue with thee above 1,000 great treasures of gold. That's going to have more weight than what? The treasures of gold. And of course, we don't see it. We're like, no, give me that money. That'll be great, right? But when you think about it, that favor, some people got into certain doors because of the name. Even when you can look at politics, you can look at, certain jobs. There were some people that heard the name and said, oh, that's a good person. Some of them got hired because somebody vouched for you that had what? A good name. Some of you had favor because sometimes a good name of a family member, right? So a good name carries some weight. And then carries it from what? Generation. Riches is, it can be vanity, it can be temporary, it can be deceiving. Because some people, they act when you're rich, it's like, some of them just come in there to take. Then once you all done and you can't provide riches, I'm not worried about you. But a good name, I can hold it. Whether you rich or poor, that good name could stay. That favor is with you. So this is what the Most High is trying to teach us and admonish us, beloved. Not saying you don't try to get rich or you can't be rich or anything like that. Once again, I'm gonna keep reiterating that point. All right, that is not teaching the Bible. However, if you chasing that and not first, not just first as in the first thing you do, if you're not prioritizing, that words for prioritizing, seeking the kingdom of God and all his righteousness, that should be the main focus. That should be your value when people think about you. You say, they just got money. What do you know about them? How to get? I know, but they have a lot of money. No, that ain't what we should be striving for. We should be striving, man. That's sister's, but that sister's kind. That sister's this and that. That's a righteous woman. For the brother, man, that's a righteous brother, man. That's what we should be striving for. That's great value. No other value greater than that for the people of God. The world deems it different. They caught up in that. But for the people of God, there's no greater riches than that. So we understand that we should be striving, always striving to have that good name. Let's keep going. Verse 13, a good life have but few days, but a good name endureth forever. A good life only have what? A few days. Only a limited time for a good life, beloved. I don't care how much exercise you do, how much vegetables and stuff, you know, how organic you get it, right? Eat all that. Nothing wrong with it. You can eat that. Nonetheless, this flesh got an expiration date. So a good life, you put all your faith. This is good life with a few days, but a good name endures forever. We talking about what? Israel, generations. David, all are, the names are lasting. With the riches, people have riches come and go, blah, blah, but the name can last through eternity. Love it. We want our name to be written in what? The book of life. This is where it's enduring forever. The Most High remember you. Hopefully you live a life that what? It even brings favor to your children and your children's children. That's the life. That's the inheritance we can give to our children. Don't think it's just much. No, the inheritance is the knowledge of God, how to serve God. Because if you got favor with God, guess what? You're going to be all right. Don't you want to pass that down? You can give them all the riches in the world. We've seen this, beloved. You look at these people. There's a lot of people that got all these riches from their parents. And guess what? They did not get taught the discipline. And a lot of them just blew it. So what was the point of all that riches? Somebody can bust their hump to put you in all this and you can lose it right in one generation. Because you didn't give the inheritance of the Most High God. Think about this, beloved. 14, my children, keep discipline and peace. There we go. Keep discipline and peace. For wisdom that is hid and a treasure that is not seen, what profit is in them both? All right. What's profit is the wisdom that's hidden and the treasure that you can't see, don't have. All right. 15, a man that hideth his foolishness is better than a man that hideth his wisdom. I love how some of these things are worded. All right. So a man that hideth his foolishness is better than a man that hideth his wisdom. Okay. And Solomon kind of talked about that, right? If you're quiet, they don't know if you wise or a fool. Okay. So some things, you're in a conversation and you'll know about it when you're quiet. They don't know if you know about it, you follow along or you don't. So sometimes it's good to be silent and observe it because people can't judge, your intellect, wisdom, or whatever. But then when some people open their mouth, they remove all doubt. Like, oh, that person's a fool. Right? It was better when he was shut up, but now they open his mouth. Now we all know this man's foolish, right? So somebody that hides their fools, of course, it can be perceived as better. It can be even perceived that they're wise. So it's better that they hide their foolishness than a man that hides his wisdom. 16, therefore he shamefaced according to my word, for it is not good to retain all shamefacedness, neither is it altogether approved in everything. Right? And there's going to be times and seasons for all things, beloved. 17, be ashamed of whoredom before father and mother, and of a lie before a prince and a mighty man. So this is not supposed to be a proud thing. And it's not just talking about we should just try to hide the whoredom from it, right? We should be refraining ourselves from that, right? So, but people don't realize shame is a form of a consciousness, okay? Something saying this isn't right. I'm trying to hide because I know this ain't right. Some kind of conscience working with you. Just like we look at Adam and Eve, right? He said, where art thou? They're hiding and stuff like that. It was a conscience. Oh my God, we did wrong. There's something where God can work with that. But when they talk about that, sear with a hot iron, right? When somebody got that conscience burnt out, guess what? They don't care no more. They're not ashamed. Right? They used to say, even with the man on man and woman on woman stuff, right? They'll say they're in the closet, right? They're doing these things, but they know it's ain't right. They're going to kind of hide and all these kind of things. Now you see what? They walking down the street parading all these kind of things. It's no shame. There's no shame in sin. There's no shame in disobedience. And the Most High is looking and watching. And they think, what? I'm all right. What the Most High going to do? He ain't do nothing. I'm doing this stuff. And that cockiness is going to cost them. So be ashamed of whoredom before father and mother. All right. We don't want it to be sitting around doing everything. Nope. And of a lie before a prince and a mighty man. So we don't want to lie. And of course, this is dealing with everything. And they just, oh, well, don't lie to a mighty man, a prince, but you can lie to motherfucker. Of course not. All right. But how you would do it, you want to bring the truth to those kind of people. Definitely not authority because there's higher consequences when you're dealing definitely with a mighty man or a prince and doing things like lying or deceiving. 18. of an offense before a judge and a ruler, of iniquity before a congregation and people, of unjust dealing before thy partner and friend. So he's saying these, and hopefully you can see the correlation between them. Okay. So ashamed of whoredom before mother and father, and of a lie before the prince of the mighty men, of an offense before a judge and a ruler. Okay, you don't want to offend before them, of iniquity before a congregation of people. You don't want to display iniquity or have iniquity found in you in front of the people, God, of unjust dealing before the partner and friend, right? Somebody you're supposed to be honest to, your partner, your friend, and everything. You don't want to be unjust with them. Verse 19, and of theft in regard to the place where thou sojournest. So you're traveling and be what? You don't want to have theft attached to you. In regard of the truth of God and his covenant, and to lean with thy elbow upon the meat, and of scorning to give take. So I love that part. What? Regard of the truth of God and his covenant. Love it. We have to make sure, and go a little bit, kind of sidebar from this. The truth of God and his covenant. We first have to what? Learn it. When you learn something, then you can observe it, follow through, and then you need to what? Protect. Not that the truth of God and covenant exposed, but you got to protect other things from trying to actually steal that and take that from you. Maybe one of these I gotta look at the word, but instead of keep your commandments, really should be guard my commandments. Because this is what you got. Commandments are there. It's very simple. The problem is people are not guarding the commandments when it comes to them. They're letting these false teachers, false prophets go in there and take this from them. So I'm looking at even that theft. That's the theft you got to worry about. Okay? There's a thievery going around from taking the truth from God's people. Can't do nothing to the truth. But what he trying to do? Satan's going to have his influence on people to take it from you. Let's keep going, verse 20. And of silence before them that salute thee, and to look upon an harlot, and to turn away thy face from thy kinsman, or to take away a portion or of a gift, or to gaze with another man's wife. All right, so he just gave you a lot of examples that all these things fall in the commandments, the laws. We can't do these things. Somebody saying and thinking you can do these things, that's a problem. It's a lawless person. That's somebody that the scriptures already talked about. Where we get at? That's this right here. Woe be unto that ungodly man that have forsaken the law of the Most High God. He's getting destroyed. And guess what they want to do, beloved? A lot of them want to destroy you. See, when you got that spirit of wickedness on you, first it what? Consumes you, mess the person first. He gets messed up. And his mind get tainted, and now he what? Like crab in a barrel. Now he's trying to bring everybody down with him. Don't let it be you. Verse 22, or to be over busy with his maid, and come not near her bed, or of upbraided speeches before friends, and after thou hast given, upbraid not. So when we're looking at some of this, beloved, we want to make sure we are not falling into these things, and understand this is wisdom. Okay, this is wisdom. But let me finish it up. Or of iterating and speaking again that which thou hast heard, and of revealing of secrets. Right. So you're supposed to be keeping secrets and stuff, and you revealing people's secrets. That's not going to be good. Okay. Verse 24, last verse. So shall thou be truly shamefaced and find favor before all men. That's what we want. Okay. So shall thou be truly shamefaced and find favor before all men. Because like I said, this is not just, oh, I'm doing this for God. Of course, we know doing this for God, but also how we're displaying love to one another. And this also gives us favor. We want favor of the Most High God. And that favor we get from the Most High God will translate to having favor amongst other people. And this is not just for the other godly people, but even there's some sinners and wicked people that you can get favor with just because you are different. Because you're doing the things of God. Everybody think, oh, well, because I'm doing righteous, no ungodly person gonna like me, no evil person, wicked person. No, there's some that will. Not because you did it right, but there's certain things that Yeah, I know this brother right here. He lives by a different code. He's not going to steal from me when I'm not around. I'd rather have this brother oversee maybe my finances because I know this person's a good person. You'll see people that talk about that even in business. They'll say, you know what, I've been burnt before, bad business, bad people. And they'll say one of the things they learn is, you want to connect to good people, things of that nature, because this is what happens. So when we have in these kind of reputation, they're like, man, this person's dedicated with their God. Their God don't approve it. They not messing with it. They're disciplined, right? Man, they're not doing all these holidays that the world do. They're not, carrying on and being caught up with all the things that the world does. Why are they doing it? Oh, it's because they whatever they see and everything they doing. So when they see you can't steal, you can't do this and this, they're like, oh, well, I know they not gonna put money right there. I know they not tempted to grab that. But some of their friends, posse, they ain't trusting that. Their wife, leave your wife around us. We not filling up on her trying to get with her. Because we know our law. You can't do that. So they see how they can trust, right? People of God because we have a different standard, we have a different discipline. And because of that, it will give us favor a lot of times amongst them. All right, beloved. That is chapter 41 of Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach. Those that's watching online through YouTube, we say shalom, shalom, right? Two versions of just saying peace. And we say ayana habatham, which means we love you all. We truly do. Shalom to our YouTube family.